Don't break the bank on your tank, part two. So in this one, we're going to be talking about things that you can get at a serious discount from, reefing websites or stores, from places, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, and Restaurant Supply. So I've been forgetting to ask people, please like and subscribe, share this in the comments. Please let me know if there's something that I can be doing better. I'm still learning how to do all of this, so it's still new to me. I'm open to suggestions. So the next place I get a lot of stuff from is Harbor Freight. Now, I'll say this before starting. Harbor Freight, I think, gets a bad rep. Saying it's low quality stuff. You've all heard about it. I see a lot of this stuff as disposable because most of the things that you're going to buy, I mean, I've bought, the BRS bone cutters and they don't do well around salt water. So most of the things that you're going to buy are going to go bad. These clamps, the springs in them rust. It's a harsh environment. So consider these things disposable, and Harbor Freight's a great place to get disposable stuff. As long as you go in with the right mindset, you're going to pay very little for it and get a lot of use out of it. So first thing is always have towels on hand. Harbor Freight has packs of towels. They're a decent size that you can, for just holding on to, wipe your hands off, wipe stuff down if you want to wipe the glass, whatever it is. They're sold in a big pack. They're inexpensive. Throw them in the wash them till they fall apart, then throw them out. And they last pretty long. I have not been disappointed by these. Another thing you'll use a whole lot of, and I sure do, is super glue. So I really like the Harbor Freight super glue. I find a lot of different super glues to be too thin, like the Gorilla Glue, that big one with the green top. I find that to be a pain to get out of the bottle. The bottle's like half full when you start, so that's sort of annoying to begin with. This one, they're little tubes like you're used to of super glue. Make sure to get the super glue gel, but I really like this stuff. I think it's the right thickness. It's definitely the right price, but when you're looking at super glues, just make sure that it is a cyanoacrylate. A lot of people will post things about, is this super glue reef safe? Look on the ingredients, look for cyanoacrylate, and that's what you can use. If it's something else, some epoxy, some other glue, don't use it. I personally really like this. It's cheap and it gets the job done. I go through a lot of it. Clamps, there's just a ton of uses for these things, and yeah, they get beaten up. The springs in them get all rusty. I don't even know if you could see. And eventually you throw them out. But things like doing water changes. If I've got to clip a tube to pump water back in, I can clip this over my glass, stick the tube through. It's not going to shoot out and while I'm gone and fill my whole room up with water. There's a lot of different stuff that you can use these for. Very, very useful. Maybe something you don't think about. They're super cheap. And you can get a bag of a bunch of different sizes for not very much. So use them till they break, throw them out. So this is another thing. This will probably be the most expensive item that is on your list, or at least on my list, as far as just like tools. Obviously there's tons of different tools, but I like this. The Dremels, I didn't really like the cords. I like something that's cordless. This was a reasonable price. It comes with a lot of different bits, so you can use it for a lot of non-reefing things. There's tons of different things that you can use it for, but for this purpose, you're gonna want these diamond wheels. You can cut through coral, cut through live rock, whatever you need to do. This is what you're gonna use. It works great. If you don't want to invest in a saw, and your bone cutters aren't cutting it, no pun intended, you're going to want these diamond wheels. So you can put them on. There's a little, most of these, there's a little screw on top, and you take and you put the diamond wheel on here, and put it in your multi-tool. I like this brand. I like this model, and you're able to frag most anything. Take it out of the tank first. This is not to be used in the tank. I hope that goes without saying. Another thing would be zip ties. I'm running low on zip ties, which means it's an emergency situation, because I use these for all sorts of stuff. I like the longer ones. You can always trim them off. Zip ties are useful for everything. I don't find that the Harbor Freight ones break any easier than any other ones. I don't find that they're stronger. I don't find that they're weaker. I find that they're a really good value for the price, and there's so many uses. Uh, this was a full funnel. You can get a set of them, and there's a lot of different things. When you're measuring out powders to do different solutions, I actually ended up cutting off the larger funnel in this pack, and I use it to put like GFO into my reactors. I use it to put carbon. I use it to refill my DI resin, so it has a large enough opening, and it doesn't get bogged down when I'm using it and trying to pour things through it. These work really well. I have other funnels. I don't know where they are, but these things can be bought from Harbor Freight. And again, keep in mind, these things are disposable. So things I use from Home Depot, with exception to all of their PVC plumbing stuff, what I use to build stands, all of that, regular Home Depot stuff. There's a couple of things in here, kind of hidden gems, that will save you a ton of money and are just as good. So the first thing would be the epoxy. I believe it is made by a company called Rector Seal. Um, it's a weird name. I didn't invent it. But this epoxy is the exact same composition as the stuff that you're going to buy for, I don't know, I think a good deal would be like $13 or $14, maybe more. I don't know, I've never bought it for the Coraline colored or the red or whatever else colored. It's just a two-part epoxy that you break off. You need, and you can mount corals or affix rocks together. Imagine how much it could cost to do a whole aquascape that you needed to epoxy together if you were paying. I mean, granted, the tubes are twice the size, but I think they're pretty expensive, 15 bucks and up. So this is just gray colored. It will eventually have things grow on it, algae, whatnot, corals, and cover it up. You're not going to notice it very quickly, and it's so much cheaper. It's the same exact stuff. This will make your skimmer go crazy, but all epoxies do. So when using, uh, be careful of that. Maybe turn your skimmer off and, I don't know, set it really low. Another thing would be these tiles. So these are, I believe they're 2 inches by 2 inches. They're travertine tiles. It's a natural stone, and I mount a lot of stuff to it, whether it's zoas that I want to grow over it. It's a nice flat surface. It's really easy to frag off of. Or colonies that I want to stand up. These are decently heavy, so a colony's not going to immediately get blown over. Um, as opposed to buying frag discs or squares or whatever it is. Yes, they're a little harder to cut. You probably want your diamond tip Dremel, or you want your a frag saw, but they do a really good job. They're really cheap. You get them in a mat of, I think it's like 36, or I don't remember how many are in it, and I think it's $10 or less. I'll post how much it actually is up here, but I could do a whole video on how to prepare those. It sort of has a mesh backing. You're just gonna put them in warm water, and that backing will kind of come off, and then just sort of scrub the back. It just has like a adhesive paste on it. But yeah, once you have them prepared, you have a whole bunch of stone tiles to mount your frags to, and you didn't spend very much money. Another thing would be a trash can. I found that there's one specific trash can. It's for recycling at Home Depot. It is blue. It's 32 gallons. I like to make 30 gallons at a time, so it works out well. But it's the recycling one, for whatever reason, is a lot cheaper. I think close to half the price than the like gray brute trash cans. I think the one that I use, and I'm gonna put it up here, is a Rubbermaid brand, so it's not some cheap off brand, but it's a lot cheaper. So I use that for mixing up water. You may not need to mix up 30 gallons, but I can kind of go over how I sort of 5 gallons at a time, and then I marked each 5 gallon increment, so you can use less than that. So that's for stuff at Home Depot that you might not immediately think when going to Home Depot. So the last main place that I like to get things from, there's a handful of things here at a restaurant supply store that are really, really useful. So the first thing would be it's sold as a utensil holder. If you've ever worked at a restaurant and you've seen those containers that they hold utensils in, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm going to post a picture of it. But they're selling filter cups for quite a bit of money for what they are, a piece of plastic. And these things are dirt cheap. They're like $2. And you can use them just the same as filter cups. They fit in a lot of the same spots, the same spaces that are for filter cups or for smaller socks. Plastic, they come in metal or plastic. Don't use metal because metal rusts. So they're a super cheap way to switch from socks to using filter cups, which are pretty useful. So you can use those. This is something that is just I think they use it for putting dirty dishes and stuff in it. It's just a sturdy plastic container. There's dog hair. Gross. It This will make an appearance on several other videos where I'm going to be talking about actual, corals that I'm going to put in here with some salt water and a light, and so that I can kind of show different stuff that I'm talking about. But this is really good for if you're dipping a lot of stuff. Imagine you have, one sick coral and you want to dip a whole bunch of them. Something like this is going to be really, really useful. They're not very expensive, and you can always dip things, acclimate, new fish, what have you. So these are really useful, very inexpensive, and really easily available. That restaurant supply stuff does have a lot of the other measuring cups and things that made the list, but I find them to be a little more expensive than places like Walmart or Harbor Freight. And for our purposes, I think the ones at Walmart or Harbor Freight are better value for you. I hope you were able to find some useful information in this video. I understand that it probably went a little bit long, but there's a lot of good info in there, and a lot of info that can save you a whole lot of money. If you feel so compelled, now that you have so much more money, you can go to AmericanCoral.com and purchase corals from me. You can email me if you don't see something that that you want. I have a whole lot more. Again, I'm working on getting my site a lot more functional. You can find me at the American Coral Company on Facebook. I'll put my email up here. And yeah, I'm just hoping to share some of the things that I like. I like to find good deals, and I'm glad that I can pass them on to you. So, till next time, thank you for watching my video, and happy reefing.